live to the John Lewis Get Trouble movie HBCU Takeover. Got the NBA 2K tournament that will continue as well. Got a lot of a plethora of guests joining us today as we continue to educate and inspire to get everyone to get out there and vote. Remember, November the 3rd coming up. I want to make sure we get out there and exercise that franchise with participation with the HBCU students. Going down in 2016, want to make sure that's a different story here in 2020 when it comes to November 3rd. Larry Ridley here, SNY TV, NBC Sports guy, two-time WNBA champ, my buddy, the queen of esports extra, Renee Montgomery. Got UNC champ, 1993, George Lynch, former NBA player and co-founder of HBCU Heroes, his partner in crime, his Bonnie to the Clyde right there. Tracy Pennywell, co-founder of HBCU
cheerleader, Larry. You got to say I'm the cheerleader.
Hey, the cheerleaders are important too. That's right.
Oh, I think
Absolutely.
that I found myself a chill. Oh, y'all not
VIC.
rolling? Okay. Y'all
Torry.
okay, okay.
Victor, right?
Yeah, we're here. We are in here, in here, in here.
Popcorn on the train. Your team ain't even ready. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we got Kym Whitley coming up, Tracy, and a special shout out to the Whitley family, right?
Yes, to you know what, her dad called when we were on the phone earlier with her, and her dad called, and Kym said, "Hold on, because when my dad calls, I got to say hi to him." So we all said hi, and
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Whitley.
Hey, Mr. Whitley.
Yes, and we know that you're watching. Kym texted us and said you are watching. We love your daughter. She is so funny. I don't even know how you guys, when she was growing up, how you like. I'm sure she kept you all laughing the entire time. So we got to say hi to her brother Kyle too. Kyle went to Howard. So and Kym went to Fisk. Kym went to Fisk, and she's a Delta. So she got it all covered, Renee. She got all
Delta Sigma Theta, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Throw it up for the D's out there, the DSTs, the ladies in the red and white, the Deltas. I was in Nashville, and I wonder if Kym, next time she comes, it's like a different city now. It's just totally blown up now. So if she ever comes back to Nashville, she probably won't recognize it when she comes back to Music City, USA, the Ville. So let's go ahead and toss to Kym Whitley. She's an actress and also comedian, and also Areva Martin as well, civil rights attorney and host as well. Let's toss to these ladies as they talk about the importance of voting, especially with this demographic, HBCUs, and the students there at these historical black colleges and universities. Take it away, ladies.
All right. This is John Lewis Good Trouble and the HBCU Takeover, and I am with the amazingly talented actress, comedian, Kym Whitley. Kym, what are you doing over there, girl?
I'm trying to get it together. You know, it's a lot going on during the Corona shutdown pandemic. You know, I'm just trying.
I know you have been holding it down. You've been entertaining us on your Instagram page with your Corona Chronicles. You've been helping parents who are dealing with homeschool. You just got it all covered. You're just that all around, like badass chick. So we couldn't do an event about HBCU graduates. I did a little research. So I looked up, who are some of the most famous people that went to an HBCU, and your name came up.
I heard my name was between John Lewis and Nico Giovanni, and then there was little old me. I was like, you daggone right.
Yeah, I was like, who are some of the famous people that went to Fisk? And you in some good company, girl. There's W.E.B. Du Bois. Yeah. There's Ida B. Wells. There's Nikki Giovanni. There's Constance Baker Motley. And
don't forget Beyonce's daddy. Beyonce's daddy was the Fisk.
You know, he's on that list. Matthew's on the list. I was like, okay, this is an interesting list. But I was like, there's my girl, Kym. So Fisk, tell us, this is about HBCUs. And we, those of us who are HBCU allies, we didn't go to an HBCU. What is so unique about that experience? And as a graduate, what would you say to students today about how they can use that education to change the world?
Oh my God, that's a whole mouthful. But let me just say this about the HBCU. So whoever's listening, if you have never ever considered going to an HBCU, now is the time. You want to be in that school. That is the school that's going to keep you woke. You're going to feel the community. It's all about culture. And right now, that's where you want to be. You want to be with your community, instead of in a different school or a big school where, you know, it's a little different. And I thank my parents for having the foresight to put me at a HBCU. My other family members had gone to Fisk University. They put my brothers at Howard University. And I was in a white neighborhood. I grew up with all white friends. So it was a culture shock to me. Wow. It really, I didn't even know what hot sauce was.
I gotta keep it real now. So you grew up in an all-white neighborhood?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up like in Cleveland first. It was in the black neighborhood, but you know, moving on up.
You just don't say, I grew up in a white neighborhood. Something about you say, I've been around black people all my life. I don't know. That's just how
Some about me, my daddy, yeah, some about me. I got one foot still in Cleveland, but they moved over to Shaker, which was good because I got the best of both worlds. But I grew up with all white Jewish neighbors. And so when I went to, because this is the craziest story. I told my mother when I was in 12th grade, we were in the grocery store and I had told my mother, I was like, someone said, so Kym, where are you going to school? I was like, Cornell. And you know, my black mama was down there. She said, no, she ain't. She going to a HBCU, Fisk University. I was like, ooh. So, you know, but I was glad because I was like, my mother had filled out my application, sent it in. I didn't know, what? They dropped me off.
That's why we love black mothers. We just do what we do.
They picked me up 4 years later. That was the last time I saw them. They was like, "This where you going?"
Well,
it changed my life.
Hats off to Mom for making that decision because you were in such great company. And we're talking about Congressman John Lewis, and you know, a lot of people know him as kind of Martin Luther King's sidekick, but he is such an iconic civil rights figure in his own right. So I'm so happy that this movie, Good Trouble, really highlights his accomplishments. And one of his biggest accomplishments is around voting rights. And we know in this election coming up, we've got to vote like we've never voted in our lives. So what message, Kym, do you have for HBCU graduates and students who are still in college? How do we motivate them to get them to the polls?
Well, you know what? They were motivated, the generation that put in Obama. We have got to re-energize. We are fighting for our lives. If they look like, understand that we are fighting for our lives, these young people are saying, oh, my vote doesn't count. Stop believing the hype. You got to remember, everything is set up for us to fail. So you got to put your part in it. You've got to go vote. You've got to encourage everyone to vote. When people say that, you've got to say your vote counts. So it hurts my heart to hear that the HBCUs have fallen off in the voting area. I'm going to do everything in my power to get out there and encourage people to vote, especially the young people. The young people, they're doing it. They got to show up and show out like they did for these protests. The young people are motivated. So they have got to be the ones to really get out there and do it. If we think about what John Lewis went through and all the people in the civil rights, and I mean, come on, we're not getting hoses turned on us. We don't have dogs. You know, we've got to look at our history and say, if they did it, we could at least go vote.
Yeah, it's so important, Kym, in terms of taking the power that we're seeing in the protest and the power from the streets and translating that into policy. And the way we do that is by voting, is by changing the occupant at the White House. And not just the White House. It's so important for young people to know that when we vote in this 2020 election, we have a chance to flip the Senate. And if we can flip the Senate, you know, the 2020 Policing Reform Act introduced by Kamala Harris and Karen Bass, we can get that passed. You know, we can get the Eric Gardner law that prohibits chokeholds across this country. We can get that law passed. So many of the things that young people in the streets are protesting about, we can actually have implemented as laws in this country, but we've got to have the control of the White House, we've got to control the Senate, and we've got to keep the control of the Congress. And we can do it. I mean, the cards are lining up for us to do it. We've just got to keep this passion and this power going. So I just want to ask you, Kym, so you have this enormous platform. You know, you're a comedian, you're an actress, you have a huge social media following. People know you from seeing you on the big screen and from TV. How does a celebrity like you and your celebrity friends, so talk to them too, use this enormous platform to reach, college students, to reach people who, like you said, may think that their vote doesn't count. How can you all use this platform to reach those folks?
Well, I think it's just about being conscious and posting, and when people ask us if we can do something, to show up. But I wanted to go back. It's also about education. Not only us being educated, but educating young people. I wasn't educated in college about flipping the Senate. If we don't understand what we're doing, we got to go back, to Schoolhouse Rock. We got to go back educating everyone about how important, not only for the presidential vote, but our senators and Congress and judges and all of this. But if we start something, flip the Senate. But I think that is the biggest thing, is education and having fun about it. My colleagues, actors and singers, we formed a group called Entertainers Alliance. We've done nothing with it right now, but we got everybody's email and everybody's phone number, and I think it's time to mobilize. Send out everybody, say it's time. We got to start pushing, but then also looking to you and people like you to say, and John Lewis, what's our message? What do you need us to do? Because as celebrities, you can just go do your own thing, but we need direction. That's the thing. When you get someone and say, hey, we need y'all to get to the HBCUs. We need y'all to do a free concert. We need something to push this vote and to get our message out.
If you ask me, what can you do? I got an assignment for you, right?
Yes, you got an assignment.
You just said that to the wrong sister when you said, what can we do?
And then that is the question. We all, because, everybody got their own hustle, but we will come together as a group. So we definitely are ready, but it's time to mobilize.
Here's one thing. When you talk to that group, Kym, I love what you just said about education, because I remember in the 2016 election, I was talking to groups and groups of millennials. I would go on any podcast, any show, anybody that would listen to me, I was talking to them, trying to get them to understand how that election was so much bigger than Hillary Clinton. And I would have these millennials say to me, I like her. I don't think I can sit down and have tea with her. She's not relatable. And I wanted to just shake them and say, you know what? You ain't having tea with her. Don't get over it. You ain't going to be having tea with Hillary.
Right. This ain't about your friendship.
I was trying to get them to understand it. It was that same energy, because this was right after Mike Brown. This was after Tamir Rice. This was after so many horrific murders of African Americans by police, like we just have now with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and, Rashad Brooks. And I was trying to get them to understand, do you know that the president appoints the attorney general? Do you know that? And it's the attorney general. It was Eric Holder that Obama appointed, that went into Ferguson, that said that Ferguson had a bigger problem than that cop that shot Michael Brown, that Ferguson had a systemic racism problem. So educating people about what the vote means beyond just that one person. President is important, but damn it, they ain't the only person important in an election. So I would implore your actors, entertainers, your colleagues, start having these conversations and helping people understand what this election means beyond Joe Biden, because we can get Joe elected, but Joe brings with him Black people, brown people, Asian people, women, gay people. Everybody is going to have a seat at that table, and that's so important.
So important.
I'm all excited now.
No, that's what I'm saying. It is very important, and we're running out of time, so we gotta really get it together. And I'll change my wig, put on a different wig each time, and be a different person. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure we get out there. And my biggest concern is how they're taking away these polling places. They're trying to get us to stand in line for 6 or 7 hours. There's got to be a way to stop this. That's the thing that concerns me. But even my friend Sherry Shepard was like, how can we go down, maybe rent a bus, help people get to the polling places? But we got to do that all over the country.
Yeah.
Did
you see the LeBron initiative? Did you see that LeBron is teaming up with one of the big, I think it's Stacey Abrams voting rights initiative, so that they can use stadiums these big stadiums where they play basketball games, so that those stadiums can actually be polling places, and they can have volunteers come in, so we don't have people knocking on the doors at 6 o'clock like they did in Louisville, Kentucky, and not be able to get in. So there are some initiatives that are moving amongst actors and entertainers, and you have such a powerful voice. I'm just so grateful that you're using it in the way that you are, and I would just encourage you to keep doing that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this. Mr. Lewis, any last minute shout out you want to just say? You know, Mr. Lewis is going through a very serious illness right now, but despite that, he remains on the battlefield fighting for justice and equality. So, you know, he's such an inspirational figure, and we want to make sure that he feels all the love from people like you who went to his alma mater.
Well, first of all, let me say, I didn't say I was finished with the interview. Just because you want to end the interview, did the little people in the back send you a text message or something to say, oh, you need to get Kym off because we got a bunch of other people, Oprah coming up, something like that. So now I got to get off. Oh, sorry, Mr. Lewis, my bad. I digress. I want to say.
No, your people said you were important, and I needed to keep this to 15 minutes. So I'm just trying to respect that you're important, and then maybe you waiting to go on Oprah.
Really? I'm on your board of directors. This is what we're doing now? Okay. What I will say.
I thought maybe Oprah was calling you or something. I don't know.
Hold on, Oprah. I'm talking to Areva Martin. We talking about John.
Yeah, wait a minute, Oprah. She's talking to important people right now.
Yeah, okay. Can you make me some tea? Okay, you hear that? I got Oprah making me some tea. Thank you. Right. Yeah, right.
All right. Thanks, O.
I know, that's crazy. Mr. John Lewis, all I can say is we love you. We love you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for continuing to sacrifice for us, to teach us, to be a leader. We need you. I just, you know, just your face, sir. Let me just tell you, just your face. It's a brand. It's when we see it. It means hope when I see you. So I just want you to know that you are loved. Your work is appreciated every day. So keep on keeping on, and we're going to keep on keeping on with you. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Powerful words. Actress, comedian Kym